I am Aarti Vaishnav. I'm the founder and CEO of Exxat. Clinical education is a little bit unique in terms of other education. Most times when you think about a school, you think about students going into a classroom and a professor sitting there and teaching them. That can be scaled very effectively. So whether you have 50 students sitting in a classroom or 100 students sitting in a classroom doesn't really make that big of a difference. But with clinical education, you can't teach a nurse how to draw blood in a lecture or in on a video and say, okay, now you go work in a clinic and treat patients. So with clinical education, it's very, very critical that they have real experience with real patients on the floor and they're mentored through this. Now, all of a sudden, the need for these professions have gone up, but doesn't mean that the infrastructure that allows the training and mentoring and coaching of these professionals at these different clinical institutions has kept pace with it. So right now it's a huge struggle for schools to figure out which clinics they can send their students to and how can they continue to give them good training while they are enrolled in the program so that once they graduate they can be good healthcare professionals. The whole idea for Exxat started when I was picking up my kid at daycare, and there was one of the other parents who was struggling to place her students in different clinics. And when she found out that I did databases for cancer research clinical trials, she asked me if I could help her with one database. I thought I was signing up for a weekend project, doing something for a friend. That was 10 years ago. We've come a long way from that. That one project translated into the idea for the company. One of the things that I think sets Exxat apart is our interest and commitment to learning the needs of our clients. So we don't take our clients for granted. We really sit there, work with our clients, spend days understanding what are the inefficiencies they face in their day-to-day life, and then bring that to our tech teams and work on making those processes more efficient. The first year that I started the company, I spent 150 nights visiting different universities, spending time sitting in conference rooms with them and just watching and witnessing their day-to-day life. And that learning hasn't stopped. As we have gone from one discipline to the other, we've taken that learning with us. I take a lot of pride that when we interact with our clients, today we are not just an IT vendor for them, but we are a partner in how they can optimize their processes, and we share best practices with them across the board. The fact that we now work with 1,000 different institutions allows us to understand how things are done differently in different institutions, and we can bring those best practices to developing programs. So Exxat is a little bit different from some of these other startups that we read about and see. Exxat has always been a revenue-funded company. We've never taken institutional investments from any venture funds or any PE firms or any other angel investors. We've always grown from the revenue that we have generated through the years. That has allowed us to not put artificial pressure on our teams to meet growth for the sake of growth. If I needed more time to understand a particular discipline, I had that time. I was not under a board member's pressure to grow for the sake of growth. And that learning has positioned us today to really leverage the relationships that we have built with these schools. As the trends in healthcare are changing, we are now not only going to be supporting universities, but a lot of healthcare institutions themselves want clinical education support. So the clinics and the hospitals where these students go to learn are also going through their own changes and their own evolution. With all these insurance companies becoming a big factor of healthcare practices, a lot of mom and pop shops are not able to sustain themselves. And so they are getting bought over by these bigger corporates and bigger organizations organizations of the like of Kaiser and others, where now it's not that you have one clinic or you have one hospital, but a corporation has 100 clinical locations, and they take students across all those locations, and now they want efficiencies in admitting these students, because these students are their professional, their future employees, and so they want to maintain relationship with these students, and they want to make sure that the students are getting a good experience when they are here. So all these years we have always focused on just one side of the paradigm, which was supporting the academic institutions. And going forward, we are in next year we are launching a module for the clinics and the hospitals that will allow us to complete this ecosystem. So in our system, not only will we have the students that are in healthcare, the educational institutions that are doing healthcare education, but also the clinics and the hospitals. And so that gives us a leverage like other software solutions.